This Thursday isn't ordinary. It's a cosmic ambush. Everyone thinks it's just another day, but they're wrong. The universe has been quiet until now. This is the moment it finally speaks. And not everyone will be ready to listen. What's coming isn't loud. It won't knock. It slides in sideways, subtle, invisible, until suddenly everything shifts. You won't notice it at first, but you'll feel it, that eerie sense that the rules just changed when you weren't looking. This isn't about clean slates or fresh starts. It's about a hidden door cracking open, a door you never knew existed, standing inches from you this whole time. No rituals, no warnings, no control, just a quiet pull toward something deeper, stranger, more destined. You can't plan for this energy. You can only sense it. And if you're distracted, if your soul's not paying attention, you'll miss the moment entirely. The shift has already begun. This moon isn't about what you want to begin. It's about what's suddenly lining up too perfectly to ignore. The conversation you didn't expect. The thought that keeps repeating itself. The thing that's falling into place almost too easily. That's not luck. That's alignment disguised as coincidence. And if you're not paying attention, you'll walk past the shortcut and never know it was there. Trust what you know before you can explain it. There's no room for hesitation right now. This new moon isn't waiting for you to analyze it, decode it, or ask for a sign. It's watching how fast you move, and rewarding those who stop asking what if, and start moving like they already know. This is one of those moments where the energy doesn't care if you're 100% sure. It only cares if you're willing to move before you're ready. Because readiness isn't logical, it's energetic. You already feel it in your gut, in the quick shift of your thoughts, in the urge to finally do the thing you've been circling around for weeks. Overthinking is the fastest way to miss divine timing. The window is small, the door opens, and then it doesn't. And the wildest part, the ones who leap before they're prepared are already seeing pieces fall into place. The call back, the opportunity, the right place, right time moment. It's not a coincidence. It's the reward for trusting the push. This energy is precise. It's almost like it's scanning for people who are brave enough to move without guarantees. If you wait for confirmation, you'll be watching from the sidelines. The universe accelerates those who act like they're already in alignment. Something strange is happening with time right now. Momentum is magnetic. Once you start moving, even the road you couldn't see before starts building itself in front of you. But there's a catch, and it's waiting right around the corner of this acceleration. You're not chasing wealth. You're finally aligned with it. This moon doesn't bring random cash falling from the sky. It's not a lottery ticket. It's the moment where the door, the one you didn't know was locked, finally clicks open. The energy around this new moon is exposing the exact belief, thought, or habit that's been blocking your financial flow and cracking it. This moon doesn't bring random cash. It unlocks the door where money was waiting the whole time. You might overhear one sentence that reframes how you view abundance. A small nudge, a strange coincidence, an idea that shows up when you're doing something totally unrelated. And suddenly, it's like a light switch flips. That one thought you always believed, the one that whispered, you need to work harder, or you're not the type of person who gets rich, starts to sound ridiculous. That's the crack. That's the shift. And no, this isn't about money raining down. It's about suddenly seeing the thing that's been right in front of you but invisible until now. The idea that works, the path that makes sense, the conversation that brings clarity, the email that shows you your value. You're not stumbling into wealth. You're finally seeing where it was parked the whole time. Abundance isn't given. it's remembered. You may not wake up tomorrow with a full bank account, but you'll wake up knowing what to do, with a kind of grounded certainty that wasn't there before. The opportunities feel closer. The resistance feels lighter. And strangely enough, there's a quiet sense that you're allowed now. The inner gatekeeper that used to shut you down, it's tired. It's stepping aside. That's what this moon is doing, removing the invisible, no you didn't even know was sitting between you and everything you've been asking for. And once that block cracks, the momentum doesn't stop with money. It starts pulling the rest of your world into motion. What looks like collapse is really the code shifting. If things feel chaotic, good, that's not a sign something is wrong. That's the sound of everything false shaking loose. What's happening now isn't meant to feel smooth. You might be second-guessing a decision you were confident in last week. Conversations might be feeling off, like people are either too quiet or too aggressive. You might be catching strange silences, missed texts, weird tension that wasn't there before. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to figure it out. That's not confusion. That's clarity making its entrance by kicking out the noise. Everything that no longer fits will start to feel uncomfortable until you stop pretending it does. There's a kind of intelligent disorder moving through your life. Plans breaking, people pulling away, sudden invitations, unexpected cancellations. A moment where you look around and think, why does everything feel off? Because it is, but not in the way you think. It's not falling apart. It's lining up. Just not for the version of you that's playing small. You're being realigned in real time, and it won't ask for your permission. It won't explain itself in soft words. It'll just happen. The discomfort, that's just the friction between your old pace and your new direction. You don't have to like what's happening, but you do need to respect it. Because this isn't chaos for the sake of drama. This is movement with a purpose, and it's sharp. It's precise. It knows exactly what you're ready to release, even if you don't. It knows which connections are draining you. It knows which routines have gone stale, and it knows how to rip the band-aid off without warning. Anything being disrupted right now wasn't strong enough to carry the version of you that's arriving. So no, this isn't a collapse. It's a correction. And the more you trust it, the faster it works. You may find yourself drawn to strange ideas out of nowhere, a sudden shift in priorities. Something you thought you had to do this week now feels pointless. And something you ignored keeps pulling your attention. That's not distraction. That's the real route opening up. The mess right now isn't an obstacle. It's a blueprint rearranging itself in front of you. And if you can breathe through the noise long enough to listen, you'll start to feel it. The exact moment where what felt like disorder begins to click. Not by force, not by control, but because you let go. Sometimes the universe doesn't speak in signs. It speaks in interruptions. Let them come. Let the interruptions speak. Let the misalignment stretch until they finally snap. Because what comes next isn't a return to comfort. It's an upgrade into clarity. And once that clicks, everything else will start moving faster than you expected. But only if you know exactly what you're asking for. This new moon doesn't move slow. It's not waiting for you to set your intentions under the stars. That time lag. We're in immediate return territory now. What you think, what you focus on, gets echoed back with shocking speed. If you've been vague about what you want, you might get hit with vague results. That's the trap. Because this isn't about throwing energy out into the void and hoping something sticks. This moon is surgical, focused, fast. This moon delivers fast, but only if your order is exact. No more someday energy.
Think of it like a mirror, not a gentle, foggy mirror, a sharp one. It reflects what you're tuned to, not what you claim you want. So if you're setting intentions out of fear, confusion, or indecision, you'll get more of that. But if you're clear, if you speak in exact terms and act like it's already yours, that's when it gets scary accurate. The text comes, the door opens, the shift happens, and you'll have to be ready to receive what you asked for, even if it's bigger than what you imagined. Clarity isn't optional anymore. It's the currency of manifestation. So ask for what you want, like you mean it. Be specific. Be direct. Because the energy around this moon is wired to obey precision, not potential. You're not becoming magnetic. You're just finally aligned with eyes that matter. There's something strange about this moon. It peels off layers you didn't even know were hiding you. Not just emotionally, but energetically. The version of you that people thought they knew, it fades, and in its place, something clearer starts to show. This new moon marks a shift in how you're perceived, not because you're changing who you are, but because the people who were never meant to understand you are finally falling away, and the ones who do are finally locking eyes. You're not becoming someone new. You're finally being seen without the filter of other people's projections. You might notice people looking at you differently. The person who used to overlook you now seems intrigued. A message comes through from someone who's been silently watching your work. Maybe a compliment lands deeper because it's finally hitting something real. That's not random. That's resonance. This moon isn't just shifting your energy. It's clearing the static that kept your signal jammed. And it's not just romantic. It's professional. It's spiritual. It's creative. If you've been showing up, trying, building, expressing, and it felt like no one really got it, this is where the delay ends. You're no longer invisible to the people who actually matter. The kinds of connections that are coming now aren't surface level. These are the people who hold pieces to your puzzle. The collaborators, the mentors, the supporters, the soul mirrors. When the wrong people stop seeing you, the right ones finally can. This visibility won't always feel loud. It might be quiet, even subtle, but it will feel true. You'll sense it in the way people speak to you, the quality of attention, the sudden openness around your ideals. This isn't just being seen. It's being recognized, and that one shift alone can change everything. Because when someone sees the real you, they open doors the old you didn't even know were locked. So if you start to feel more magnetic, more obvious, don't even overlooks.
So if you start to feel more magnetic, more obvious, more clear, don't shrink. This is the version of you the world was actually waiting for, and now it's finally showing up. It was never random. You just didn't have the eyes to see it yet. This isn't a plot twist. This is your soul taking the wheel. This moon holds the kind of energy that doesn't ask for your permission. It just shows you what's next. Not based on your old plan, but based on your actual alignment. You might suddenly get obsessed with something strange, a new topic, a job opportunity, a location you never considered. And instead of overthinking it, something in you just knows. This isn't a twist. This is your soul taking the wheel. The path that appears now will likely feel both terrifying and undeniable. It might not make logical sense. You might even try to brush it off. Say it's just a phase, a distraction, a random thought, but it keeps pulling. That's because it's not coming from the outside. It's coming from the version of you that's been waiting for the moment to finally make the leap. The people, the ideas, the signs, they're all converging to reveal a direction that's been forming in the background for months, maybe years. And now it's clear. You're not being forced into anything. You're being invited into something you didn't know you were ready for until now. And here's the wild part. You may have thought you were chasing stability, But what's coming is freedom. A job that feels like play. A move that feels like relief. A relationship that feels like breath. None of it looks how you expected. And that's the point. Alignment doesn't always look like your plan. It looks like peace in disguise. So if something stirs in you over the next few days, don't write it off. Follow the thread. Ask the question. Explore the curiosity. This moon is handing you a future you couldn't have scripted. And if you trust it, even just a little, you'll see why the old path never really worked. Because it was never yours to begin with. What was stuck now moves, and it moves fast. You know that feeling when something's been blocked for so long, you stopped expecting it to change. That wait, that cycle, that endless loop where things almost happen and then fall apart. This new moon doesn't ask politely. It shoves the wheel forward. You'll feel like things are finally breaking in your favor, because they are. There's no other way to say it. The streak is over, and not in some fluffy fingers crossed kind of way. This is kinetic. This is visible. This is the moment where the light turns green on things that felt frozen in time. People who haven't texted you back in weeks suddenly reply, a yes where you expected a no. An opportunity that feels too specific to be a coincidence. And the best part, it doesn't feel like you're trying anymore. It just clicks. But let's be clear, this isn't luck the way you've been taught. It's not about scratching a lottery ticket. It's about the invisible buildup of energy finally hitting a pressure point. The behind-the-scenes work, the shadow work, the inner upgrades, they've all been stacking quietly, invisibly, and now the dam breaks. Flow isn't random, it's just timing finally catching up to your alignment. And don't be surprised if the shift comes through the smallest things. A conversation that takes a turn you didn't expect. An email that opens a door. A message that makes your chest tighten in that weird, exciting way. This is how momentum starts. Not loud, not flashy, but real. You don't have to force it anymore. You just have to follow the movement. And when it starts, let it move you. Don't over-question the wind. Don't resist the ease. This moon is teaching you how to receive, how to stop bracing for things to go wrong, and instead watch them unfold exactly as they were meant to. You've been in a holding pattern long enough. It's time to land. You're not becoming more confident. You're just remembering who you are. Something subtle, but undeniable, is about to shift inside you. It's not a surge of arrogance. It's not a motivational pep talk. It's something much deeper. A quiet, natural certainty that you no longer need to explain yourself to be understood. You'll walk differently, text differently, show up differently, and you won't even notice, because it's natural now. This new moon upgrades your self-image from the inside out. Not the version of you that's always adjusting to please, or shrinking to fit, or tweaking words to soften your truth. That version doesn't get to lead anymore. What rises now is the version of you that speaks without checking the room. The version that knows their value without waiting for permission. This isn't ego. This is spiritual clarity. People will feel it before you do. Suddenly they speak to you with more respect. They second-guess their dismissiveness. You get offered things that used to feel out of reach, not because the world changed, but because you did. Confidence has always been a frequency, and now you're finally tuned in. And what's wild is how effortless it'll feel. You won't be rehearsing what to say, hoping to be taken seriously, or masking your true thoughts. You'll just speak, and they'll listen. That's what this moon is unlocking. Not just the ability to be heard, but the ability to believe yourself when you speak. True confidence isn't loud, it just doesn't flinch. You'll notice it in little ways first. Maybe you hold eye contact a little longer. Maybe you say no without guilt. Maybe you share your idea in a room where you used to stay silent. These are the symptoms of self-trust, and they are multiplying now. You're no longer explaining your worth. You're just embodying it. And when that becomes your default setting, the world has no choice but to respond. Desire refined is power multiplied. This new moon doesn't just shift the world around you, it clears the static inside you. That mental clutter, the anxious craving for 10 different outcomes, the looping thoughts that say, maybe I want this or that, or maybe I'm meant to wait a little longer, gone. Not because you force them to disappear, but because clarity finally steps in and says, you don't need all of it. You just need the right thing. You'll stop chasing more and start attracting exactly what you're aligned with. You'll notice something strange. The goals you once obsessed over suddenly feel distant. Not wrong, just unnecessary. It's not that you're giving up, it's that you're waking up. You don't need every option anymore. You don't need every door to open. You just want the one that's yours. The one that actually fits. The one that feels peaceful in your chest, not loud in your head. This isn't a downgrade. It's your energy becoming precise, focused, magnetic. This new moon creates what can only be described as an energetic laser. The more refined your desire becomes, the faster reality responds. You no longer scatter your attention, hoping something sticks. You know what you want, and you let the rest fall away. And here's the magic. Once you no longer want everything, you start receiving the exact things you didn't know how to ask for. Unexpected support, clear signs, rapid alignment. It's not the result of hustle or control. It's the result of stillness. Manifestation doesn't require effort. It requires accuracy. And accuracy starts with honesty. Not what should I want, but what do I actually want right now? Not what looked good on paper last month. Not what everyone else is doing. Just the one thing your soul is quietly pulling toward. When you listen to that, and only that, the speed at which things begin to move is almost eerie. This is why this moon is powerful. It silences the noise long enough for you to finally hear yourself. And once that happens, everything else starts moving in your direction, fast. You're not lazy for wanting less. You're wise. You're powerful for recognizing what no longer belongs in your life. That's the shift. That's the glow. And that's exactly why the life meant for you is finally drawing near, not louder but clearer. If you're still here, thank you for your time and presence. If this message spoke to you, feel free to subscribe. Your support truly means the world. And if you feel led, share your thoughts or story in the comments. I read every one. Until next time, take care of your soul, protect your peace, and remember, less is often the doorway to more.